everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Beautiful You. I'm your host Avantika. Thank you so much for being with us here today, and thank you for all the support that I've been getting on the previous episodes. Honestly, it's so nice to know that it's my podcast is actually growing. I can see subscribers and followers increasing on Spotify and YouTube, and it's actually so incredibly cool. It's so fun. In today's episode, we actually have a very special guest with us. Her name is Lauren. I'm hosting her for a few days actually. We met on couchsurfing. She's from the United States. She has studied communication and entrepreneurship. She has worked for 6 years in marketing, advertising, and photography. She's 26, turning 27 soon, and has traveled to 33 countries. She has a travel podcast named Low on the Go. All her socials will be linked in the description below, so check her out. And welcome Lauren. Hi, how are you feeling?
Hi, I feel so good. I'm so happy to be here on this podcast. It's my first one that I've been a guest on, so we'll see how I do.
We have been wanting to make an episode for such a long time at this point.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you here and just talk about your travel, because honestly, so when I had when I came across your profile on couchsurfing and when I saw that you traveled to 30 plus countries, I was so shocked. And you're only 26. How did the whole traveling journey began for you?
Oh goodness. I would say the traveling journey kind of started with my dad actually. Growing up, we really only went around the States and to Mexico, but he traveled a lot for work. So he's been to all 7 continents, and I guess the travel bug kind of got instilled in me. And then when I was 20 years old, I went to Europe for the first time and traveled around to a few different countries, and it just opened a whole new world for me. So it kind of just picked up from there, and now I'm on this longer sort of trip.
That is so cool. You have been on the go for last 7 months.
Yes, I've been chaloing around the world.
Her favorite phrase is chalo in Hindi, and she says that to every single thing. So she came up with this thing where it's Lauren puts the low in chalo.
It's true. Even you and me together are running around Mumbai. It's been on the go the whole time. But yes, I love the word chalo, so I'm very sorry if I use it in this podcast episode.
You should definitely get that tattoo that you were thinking about in Hindi, you were saying.
Yeah, that would be a fun tattoo. We need to take a poll on this podcast though, because if people in India, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, if people in India see that I have chalo written in Hindi, is that weird? Yes or no?
Let us know if you think that she should get a tattoo in Hindi and write chalo in Hindi, because she thinks it's really pretty and it's literally her favorite name. And every single time, even when I say chalo, it reminds me of Lauren every single time. So you've been on the road for the last 7-8 months at this point?
Almost 8. It'll be 8 in the beginning of April. So
how did it all start? Which country did you first go to? Tell us about it a bit.
Sure. So I was living in New York City at the time, and there were a few factors that played into me leaving New York, including rent skyrocketing with everybody moving back into the city, kind of post-COVID vibes. But I flew from New York City to Lisbon in Portugal, and I didn't really have a reason for choosing Lisbon other than it was relatively close to New York, right over the Atlantic Ocean. Missed my first flight, so it's an interesting way to start a journey that has no plan. I had no plan, no end time that I had in mind, but I traveled throughout Europe for the first 5 or 6 months. There were 17 countries, so I'm not gonna put you through the pain of listing them all. But yeah, I didn't have any plan. I started in Lisbon and just kind of went. So
that is crazy. And you have been in India for almost 2 months now.
Yeah, almost exactly 2 months. I came on I think the 27th of January. So 2 months, and really, really loving it here. I've wanted to come here since I was young, so it's been just the best time. But didn't actually have a plan to come here either. That's a whole other
I thought you
story.
did. Oh yeah, you did mention that. It was wait, so what was the reason you came to India then?
So I came to India because around 3 weeks into my trip, I landed in Madrid, and I knew I had to be in Madrid in order to catch a flight to meet up with a friend in Mallorca, which is an island, so like I had to make this flight. I couldn't just take a bus there if I missed it. So I get to Madrid and I get to my hostel, and I meet this Italian guy named Leo, and Leo and I kind of hit it off. I was really tired because I took a bus from Sevilla in the south of Spain, and let me tell you, like, I've been eating tapas for like 3 weeks. I love tapas. Like, feed me sangria, really, but I needed to kind of get back into having my own, diet that I was used to, and I'm really health conscious, and I'm gluten intolerant, so I'm gluten free, and had been having a lot of bread and whatever. So I was like, you know what? I need a kombucha. I'm going back to my New York ways for like 2 seconds. Told Leo, let's go get a kombucha. He was like, okay, I'll go with this random American girl to go find some kombucha in Madrid. Great. And on our way out, I met this really tall man who was wearing harem pants and a bucket hat, and his name is Samarth. And Samarth is from Bangalore. Samarth and I hit it off immediately. We like ran around Madrid. We went vintage shopping, all the things. And he was just a really kind person and said, if you're ever in India, let me know. We can, run around, hang out, see the country, but you're gonna need like 2 or 3 months here. So I'm like, okay, cool. I have plans to be in Europe until around the end of October, and then go to South America. I was gonna meet up with some friends and go to Carnival in Brazil and stuff like that. But as time kind of went on, the invitation that Samart extended to come to India sort of lingered in the back of my mind, and we met up in Italy a few weeks later, and I was like, okay, yeah, come to India. My best friend's getting married. I'm the best man, this and that. Like, if you come later, I might be, the weather's a little bit, more difficult. It's super hot in May and April. So like, come January, February. And I was like, okay, like, maybe we'll see. And then I ended up living in Croatia for 2 months because, and we can talk about this a little more later, but I was really, really fatigued from traveling. Mm-hmm. Like, my mental health was not doing the best from traveling every 4 or 5 days. Really takes a toll on you to meet people, make a connection, and then say goodbye and not really have like a home. So it's like, I need to be somewhere for an extended period of time. Stayed in Croatia for 2 months. I had a plan. Plans never go as planned. I had a plan to fly from the UK to Mexico City, and I just, checked to see if I could even cancel the flight in case I wanted to go to India, or in case something came up. And the flight was never booked, which was, to me, just kind of crazy. A few other things went wrong where it was like, okay, I feel like I'm being sort of led to go to India, and so everything fell into place. And the primary reason I went was to go hang out with Samarth, go to this wedding, meet his friends, and I'd always wanted to go to an Indian wedding and experience like 2 or 3 days of the celebrations here, and it was everything and more that I could have expected. Such a vibrant celebration, and the couple was really beautiful and in love, and yeah, I'm just reminiscing, but from there a couple weeks before I even came to India, I was like, Sam, I call him Sam, he introduced himself that way, that's Samarth. Do you have any sort of like meditation, yoga coursework or something that I can do while I'm there? And he said, Lauren, you need to go for a Vipassana, so it's 10 days in silence, where you're meditating for around 10 hours a day starting at 4 in the morning. So everything kind of just fell into place, and I never had a plan to leave here. I thought I would be here for 2 or 3 months, and now it's 2 months later and I'm still here. And very happy to be.
It was like everything fell apart for it to fall back together and make it make sense.
Yeah. Exactly. I talk about that a little bit on my podcast, about everything that like quote unquote went wrong, but that I really needed to go through in order for me to be able to handle other things in life later and also like enjoy them. So I guess part of the reason why I didn't plan anything during these 7 or 8 months is because like I didn't want to discount something that I didn't know, like an event or an activity or somebody that I met that I didn't even know existed, right? So it was kind of a process of like learning to trust myself and learning to trust the process, and it's been great.
That's amazing. So I had like an Instagram story put up, and we got like a couple of questions over there. So I'll like start with the questions a little bit. One of the people asked, she said that I heard about couch surfing, but I have literally no idea how it works. In one of my previous episodes, I explained in my ways what couch surfing is, but I would love to know about what you think. I think the Indian thing, that was the first time you used couch surfing, right?
Yeah, I used couchsurfing for the first time in Goa like a month ago.
Okay. But then before that, you were using concepts similar to couchsurfing.
Yeah, I was using a Facebook page called Host a Sister, and it's similar to couchsurfing, but for women specifically. So if you're a woman that's looking to travel, specifically traveling solo, and you're a little bit nervous or apprehensive about meeting up with someone or even staying with someone that's not, it's like one of your first times traveling and somebody that you haven't met. I would start with Host a Sister on Facebook. It's a really amazing community.
Could you tell us a little about like what couchsurfing is and how the experience has been for you so far?
Yeah, of course. So I learned about couchsurfing like 10 years ago and thought never in a million years would I do something like this. Here I am 10 years later, and it's honestly one of the most it might be my favorite app of all time.
Oh.
Really.
Yeah.
Because I'm here because of it. I'm here with Avantika because of couchsurfing, and you meet the most just wonderful people and make these incredible connections around the world. But backing up to what couchsurfing is, it's an app. It's the one with the orange logo. So if you just look up on the App Store couchsurfing, you'll find it. It's like $14 for a year, and it's completely worth the subscription. And essentially, it's an app that connects travelers together or travelers with hosts, people that can, host a traveler in their home, either like on a sofa or if there's a separate bedroom, or just for people to come together that are traveling within the same city. So, for example, how I used couchsurfing for the first time was I pulled open the app. There's a section where you can include upcoming trips. So I added to that, said that I was going to be in Mumbai from this date to this date, and then I wrote a little description about myself, like, hey, I'm Lauren, I'm really, into like cooking and food, would love to like cook with you. I really love being friends with my host. So just like some things about me and kind of what like I like to do in a city. I like to live like a local, etc. If I'm looking just for like friends to meet up with, or for a host, if I prefer, a female host over a male host just because I'm a woman traveling solo, etc. And you can post that so that people in that country or that city can see it and say, hey, they'll message you and say, hey, I can host you, or hey, this and that. So I received a ton of messages from people.
A ton of messages.
I received a handful. People like India is such a beautiful place, and everybody's just so hospitable and welcoming, and I love it here, man. But I received a few messages from people in Mumbai as well as some other cities saying, hey, if you're in Goa, hey, if you're in Kerala or Jaipur or something, we should meet up for a coffee, I can host, whatever. And you read like the messages that you get, and like Avantika's message, for example, was so personal, and it was so kind, and for somebody putting themselves out there and like on Avantika's side and being so young and wanting to make these connections and saying like it takes vulnerability to put yourself out there and say, hey, I think we would vibe, I know we don't know each other, maybe we can like have a call in advance of meeting just so that we know that we're real people and stuff like that. And then you meet up, and I'm so impressed by Avantika in like every way. But the good thing, just for some peace of mind when it comes to couchsurfing, because safety is the most important thing when it comes to anything like this, especially if you're going into somebody's home, is to obviously do your due diligence, especially again if you're a woman. But the really amazing thing is that these people who messaged me, I was able to look at their profile. You receive references, so people can like review their stay with you, and so when I stayed with a guy in Goa named Sanil, and he had like 75 references. A ton of them were from women saying that they had a really great time, felt super safe. So you can ask to look at people's social, like he included his social media, his Instagram and stuff in his description on his own profile. So you look and you see what other people say, and I think that's enough. And that gave me a lot of peace of mind, and I've had nothing but great experiences. They said couchsurfing also has like events though, right? They host.
Yeah. They have like a whole section where it's like there are couchsurfing events and a bunch of people meet up. I went to one of these events in Paris. There were like 15, 17 of us who were like watching this movie on a huge like open screen.
What?
It was so crazy. They played some like music, and it was like there were so many people there, like hundreds of people on the ground. Everyone
That's
just like
so
laying
cool.
on the ground, and they were like watching a movie in like open sky and stuff. And later on we got some drinks, and we were like, and then we like sat by the riverside and we were just like talking and stuff. It was really nice.
Yeah. It's so cool because you do things, if you're on the traveler side, like you do things that you wouldn't be able to even know of that they existed, right?
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like that's so fun and random to be able to go and watch a movie in a big screen in Paris where there's like it's so everything's pretty compact there and stuff. So it was the same in Goa. Like we would scooter around everywhere and go to these like cafes that I wouldn't have known were there and wouldn't have gone to on my own. So and the really cool part is that like, so I haven't hosted yet before because I'm traveling and I just started using the app, but when you're like a host and stuff, you get to know other people from all around the world, and so when you're in that city, you already kind of have friends or a place to stay, and so it works really well on both ends. But with an app like couchsurfing, I think it's really important that like it's a give and a take, right? So you don't just go as a traveler and like stay with a bunch of people. Like once you're back in your own city, you're involved with the community there too. But it is for sure a community, and it's I love it.
Have you been to any couchsurfing events in Mumbai yet?
I haven't been to any organized couchsurfing events, but again, couchsurfing's so cool, and like it's like you meet someone and they're like, oh yeah, I also know that person on couchsurfing. So I went to Dharavi in Mumbai with somebody that I met on couchsurfing with, his name's Sharon, and then all these other people from couchsurfing came, and then all these other travelers came, and so it wasn't a proper event, but we kind of made it into one. There were like 10 or 12 of us, so haven't been to any events though. It seems like they're worth it. You get to do really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, I have never been to an event in Mumbai, because like when I see them, honestly, it's like every single time that I see it, it's people in their 40s and 50s, and I don't know if I would be comfortable with people that old. So I'm just like, I'm a little careful when it comes to meeting up people like online, especially when they're like that old. I'm more comfortable with people from in their 20s, and even in their 30s, it's like fine with me as long as like we're just like connecting and just like traveling and stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like in France, I met people from ages of like 22 to 40, just in events and stuff. And it was so crazy because people are from different countries and they're doing so many different things.
Yeah.
And it's like I got to know about professions that I didn't even know existed, or this is like the van life that people talk about in traveling. Yeah. I got to know that people actually do that, like actually do that. You only hear that about on the internet, but then I actually got to like meet people who have been pursuing that life, and so it's honestly incredible. But then I also kind of want to talk about like the downside of couchsurfing.
Sure.
Or just using apps like similar to couchsurfing. Have you had any bad experiences when it comes to living at a local's place?
Honestly, no. I haven't. I've had really, really positive experiences with couchsurfing. Again though, like really check your references. Yeah. Make sure that you're looking up social media handles and things like that. And read the reviews. Ask questions. If you ask someone a question and you're like, this might offend them, the person should be understanding, like that you're looking out for your safety. So if someone gets offended, go find somebody else. Like I remember I asked when I was in Goa, I was like, is my room like a separate room? Is it like a couch? Because it can be like a sofa in a living room. It could be an extra room. And the Senilo was just like, yeah, it's just another, you have your totally own space and things like that. So I haven't really had any sort of bad experiences yet. I've heard, I mean, there's always going to be a handful of stories that of like negative stories, but yeah, for me it's been all positive. What about you?
I've only lived with two hosts so far, in Bordeaux and in Paris. All of them were like, both were great. One was with like a 31-year-old man. He was from Senegal. He was so hospitable, and I was very hesitant about it, not gonna lie, because it's like it's my first time. and it's in Bordeaux, so not a lot of English speaking people are there.
Yeah.
But he was amazing. He gave me his own room, and he slept on the couch.
Oh.
I was like, I can sleep outside on the couch, but he was like, no, it's fine. So I had like the whole room to myself, and he slept on the couch. And he was like working at night, so he had a night shift. And at that time I would be either home alone or just outside.
Yeah.
And like during the day I would be outside, and he would be just sleeping. And then he even like made lunch for me one day, like the South African like food. It was, I think, from his country itself, from Senegal. I forgot the name of the dish. But yeah, he was sweet. And then the host in Paris, oh my god, she's amazing. I was going to stay with her for 2 nights, ended up staying for 4. Yeah. It was so cool. We like connected instantly and stuff. But I did come across one traveler. She was from Denmark. She was also like 27, 28. And she had a couple of bad experiences with the host where basically not a lot, I wouldn't say a lot, but like some people unfortunately use couchsurfing as like a dating app.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so this girl told me about her experience that 2 men, like on separate occasions, 2 different hosts tried to be like physically intimate with her. At one point, as for one person, she had to be like, dude, I don't like appreciate this, and she put some boundaries and everything was cool. But the other guy wouldn't listen, so she had to like leave the house that night itself.
Oh my god, that's so scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
Horror stories. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of, that's so scary. I feel like it's kind of a numbers game where if you, like as with anything, right? Like I've only had really 2 experiences with staying with people and couch surfing, and one was with you and one was with Sunny and Goa, and again, like had the most amazing experience with both of them. And it was the same actually in Goa. Something happened with my train where I had to
book the train, I think.
No, I did. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Lauren's ADHD later. I tried to book the train. It never got confirmed because it was booked kind of last second. So I had to take one the next day. And I remember I was like, I was at lunch with Sunil, and I look over at him and I'm like, so just got word that my train was never booked. So can I maybe potentially stay another day? And he like rolled his eyes in kind of a funny manner, and he's like, duh, like of course you can stay a day longer. So so much fun, really. Like, oh my gosh, I love reminiscing of all these stories. And here in Mumbai too, I went out one night with some couch surfing people, and like specifically Sharon is so good at making sure that you like get home safely, and if you're new to taking the local or anything like that, he'll make sure that you're picked up at the airport and get safely to your hostel. And
you
stuff
actually
like that.
meet some of the most hospitable people through
Ever.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. It's honestly amazing.
Yeah.
Like except for the bad parts. I mean, there's like good and bad and everything, right? But like I honestly feel like the good triumphs the bad any day.
Yeah, agreed. Just really like reviews, references, read them.
Did you get any like
very
DP
telling.
messages from people? So for like any like bad messages and stuff like that?
No bad messages. It's just I would receive some messages and then I wouldn't respond because I can't respond to every message.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in anything, right? Social media, everything. Like some random person messaging me on couchsurfing. Like I have friends and stuff, like family that I need to talk to. So I had some people that would follow up from the messages if I didn't respond and being like, okay, fine then. Like, so just like a sassy thing. But that's obviously not anything, bad. It's just a little bit petty, so.
No, yeah, fair enough. Honestly, when you put up like the message that you're traveling to some place, you would get tons of messages and not all of them would have good reviews, And I don't even think that there are some people who actually want to just connect with people who are traveling. I just feel like they're just honestly there to just sort of use like a dating app. Like it just, some profiles just give that vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about it. I'm like, this is not the app for that,
Yeah, there's a different app for that.
Exactly. Okay, so going back to your story, you sold everything that you owned.
Shit, I guess I did.
To start traveling. She actually has an episode on her podcast about that. You should, oh my god, check every single episode. It is so amazing. Every single episode of her podcast. Like, okay, that is when I felt the most connected with you, because like before meeting up, like when I saw that you had a podcast and everything, I actually went through the podcast, right? Like some of the episodes.
We said the same things.
Yeah, we literally use the same. We have such similar vocabulary, and it's crazy to me. So it's like, and I got to learn so much about just life in general, and even throughout the interactions. Honestly, I don't want you to move on.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to either. I'll still be in Mumbai. Just a little far. But no, I don't want to leave either. I love it here. Screw my fam. My Mumbai soul fam.
So, so check every single episode out. So,
stop literally you. I just listened to the attachment theory one and I was like, oh God, I have some introspection to do. Not my avoidant attachment style. Like, leave me alone, okay?
Okay, so moving back to you selling everything to go be on the road. Mm-hmm. One person had asked a question: was it hard to quit having your own place and be on the road?
Yes. Yeah, it was for sure. Everything happened really fast for me. Mm-hmm. So I sold everything within a month. And I had studied abroad in France like 3 years prior. And I remember it was August and I was wearing like a wool coat because I needed to have everything for the next 6 months or whatever. And I couldn't pack my coat in my suitcase. So I was trying to figure out how to use the metro with like 2 giant suitcases. Point being, I needed to travel with a backpack this time no matter how long I was going to be traveling. So it's not that much stuff. And you kind of feel like a little turtle because you're like, wow, this stuff that's on my bag, like this is it. This is my home. I am my home. I don't have a place that I can like settle down and really have just my energy be there, and I can put my things there and purchase, different like furniture and decor and things that feel like a reflection of who I am, which like that for me was always a big thing. I was always very like expressive with how I decorated a place and made it my own. So that and the people, I would change people that I met every, like I said before, 4 or 5 days. Whereas in New York, I had roommates and I was really close with them. So like my sense of home kind of shattered a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I have come to many, many, conclusions about myself, and that like really I am my own home, and the people that I meet, those people are my home. And I've gone through clothes. I have clothes that are spread in Berlin and Bangalore, a few different places because I've had to buy new stuff. So it's been tough, but it's honestly it makes you a lot stronger and it builds character. One day I get to look back and say I did this. Like, how cool is that?
That is actually so cool. And that actually hits hard when you say, oh, you're your own home, because traveling with just one backpack, it gives the whole sentence a whole new meaning, with another intensity. Yeah. Out of all the countries that you traveled to, did you ever feel like, oh, I like this place, or I like this country so much that I actually might, want to build a home here, or did that happen to you throughout?
Might want to stay.
Well, except for Mumbai, of course.
Except for Mumbai. Mumbai, honestly, that's a really interesting question. I would say yes, for sure, but for different reasons. Like with Mumbai feels a lot like New York City to me, and I've been kind of telling the universe that I've wanted to get back. I wanted to settle somewhere for a few months and kind of get back on track. When it comes to doing like freelance work and going to the gym and just having a bit more of a routine, because if you move somewhere every few days or every even couple of weeks, like you can never get settled enough to like get into a routine. And I find that like I don't want to get to a place where like I'm moving so often that like I avoid my work and I avoid like having a healthy lifestyle like I did before, because I'm like, oh, I just got to keep going, right? So I'm so glad that I was given Mumbai. Before though, the longest place that I had stayed somewhere during this 7 or 8 month trip was 2 months in Hvar, Croatia. And I had been traveling for probably 2 months at that point, and I just knew that I was so tired and that I needed to stay somewhere. I was planning on staying there for 3 weeks. I stayed there for 2 months, and that place, like, Havar is beautiful. You go there, and the beaches are made of stone, which sounds kind of weird, like little pebbles, which doesn't sound, everyone loves like white sand beaches and stuff like that, but honestly, if you have a stone beach, it's really nice because there's no like seaweed buildup, so the water is just this insane blue color, and you just go like jumping off of cliffs. And I was volunteering there at a hostel actually, called Luca's Lodge, and I found that actually through a website called World Packers. You can volunteer all over the world. You get usually your accommodations free, usually food and laundry are free too. So I basically stayed there for free for like 2 months and lived on like an island paradise. It was really, really magical. Now, would I live there for like ever? Probably not, but for these 2 months, was it necessary, and did I find a home there? And did I live in a tropical place, which I never have? Absolutely, absolutely. And I loved it. But I do love the city vibe of Mumbai, and I don't know how long I'll stay here, but I could see it being for a little while, to be honest.
Honestly, just live like another year and we'll move on.
Yeah! Yo, chalo!
Yeah, like, it's been so great having you here, honestly.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I feel like we both feel the same way about this, and I'm like, I feel like I found my family here because I haven't been back in the States to see my friends or anyone in a long time, and having like a mom here who like holds me accountable because God,
no social media while eating,
no social media with eating. We got to do all of our meditation and breath work in the morning and get up at this hour. It's been so great, man. Really having someone to hold you accountable, mom vibes, like sister vibes with Avantika, and just staying in somebody's home, learning how to cook is like, I don't know, I just feel so grateful.
Me too, honestly, me too. How long do you plan to be on the road? Do you have any idea? I mean, knowing you so far, you probably have like no plan. That's your plan.
Yeah, I was gonna leave. I was gonna leave India. God, man, yeah, no, I don't know. I have no idea. And opportunities kind of just continue to flow into my life. And when I worked back in Minnesota, the state where I'm from, I was working at an ad agency, and I had this incredible client named Dan. And he wasn't even my client for that long, but we really had such like a strong connection. And when I was leaving that company, I remember he said something to me that was it hit me really hard, because I've always been the kind of person that's kind of type A, wants to make it happen, will do anything to make it happen. And he told me, he goes, Lauren, everything changes when you let the universe come to you and present itself to you and unfold to you.
I got chills listening to that. Oh man, it like feels, because it feels like, I don't have the right words to express it, but we've been talking about it so long. It's like having the universe come to you. It's like what is meant for you will come to you,
Yeah.
And it's in literally every aspect of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
No, that's such good insight. And I guess like in my brain, I guess I've always been someone that like chases things, whether that be like, a city or a job, career, whatever it is. And I guess I visualize it in my head of, I just need to be stillness or strolling like pleasantly along my own path, and the thing will just kind of roll up into my life when it needs to. And I think the key is like knowing yourself and going slowly. And you can only know yourself if you go slowly and take things one thing at a time. Yes, I like this. Yes, I do. No, I don't like this. Yes, I'm attracted to this. No, I'm not attracted to this. And then really having the courage to ask for that thing, knowing that it's in alignment with you, and then kind of like letting go of control and having fun. And that's not something that I knew until I left New York and went on this journey and started to really appreciate the quote unquote like bad things that happened to me. And when I say bad things, I've always been safe. I've always been, secure. It would be like missing a bus or something like missing a flight, where you have to like take a financial hit or something like that, but nothing too crazy. And
okay, I don't know how the editing is gonna look like, so I just started. But my mom came in, and now we completely forgot what we were talking about.
I love her. She goes buzzing and she's like, I'm so sorry I didn't text you back. I have some donuts. smile on her face. Oh, I love that woman. She's an angel from freaking heaven itself, man.
That was the Rajasthani sweet.
Oh.
Yeah. So you know the state Rajasthan, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's Rajasthani sweet. I don't know the name of it, don't ask. But those were the like specially from Rajasthan.
Rajasthani food slaps, man.
Oh, it slaps, yeah.
Oh, the wedding that I went to was in Rajasthan, and oh man, it was like 12 courses of all you can eat everything.
For like context, she went to like a proper Rajasthani wedding, you know, in like a palace and everything. It's like I think it was a 2-day wedding, right? Or
2 days, yeah.
2-day wedding with like everything that we could possibly
Decked
think of. So
out.
it's like a very traditional Rajasthani wedding that she went to, and like even I haven't seen it. It's so great that you did, because like those are the talk of the show.
Oh, it was so amazing. Oh, you could get just like chai and more chai and more chai. So one of Samarth's friends came from Austria too, and one of his friends specifically, him and I would make this like eye contact whenever we wanted a chai, and I started to call it chai eye. Every time we wanted a chai, we would make this very specific eye contact and be like, okay, Jello, let's go get a chai.
Fair enough. Okay, but what were we talking about?
I think I was talking about how
the-
letting the universe come to you, like how your life will completely change when you just like know yourself well enough to have the bravery and the confidence to ask for what you want and what feels aligned. It's just so hard. I have a podcast episode about this. It's so hard to sometimes know what you want when we're told throughout our entire lives, you're going to go to school here and you're expected to get these grades and it's best to study this. And so we become very disconnected from ourselves. And so going through the process of connecting back with yourself and who you are and like your inner child, if you will, and asking yourself what you loved when you were younger, and just listening to your body and knowing what gives you life back when you kind of put yourself out there, like couchsurfing.
Yeah.
This gives me so much life and energy back. And then letting the universe present opportunities to you, I think is kind of how I've gotten this far. And I've done some really cool stuff. I've gotten into hot air balloons and then seen sofas on the side of mountains from the hot air balloon. I met this Polish guy. Him and I went hiking at like 6 a.m. to try and find this sofa. I couldn't decide how I wanted to get to Istanbul when I was in Turkey. And I just was getting really stressed out. I don't know if I want to fly or take a bus. And then it was just a few nights before, and I went to go schedule an airport transfer. I met these 2 guys who, they're from Romania and they live in the UK. And one of them, Florian, shout out, love you. Florian was the one who planted the couchsurfing seed back into my mind. He reminded me what it was from not having heard about it for years, and he was like, Lauren, you have to try it. And Turkey was the country I was in right before India, so that was really important for me, because otherwise I honestly don't think I would have gone on the app. But I met these 2 Romanian guys. Their flight was on the same day as mine, so it was like 3 days later back to the UK, and mine was to New Delhi. But I had just found out like a day or 2 before that my flight from Delhi, it was originally on the 27th of January. They changed it to the 26th, and there would be a 13-hour overnight layover in Saudi Arabia. Originally, it was only 3 hours. I can't stay in an airport for 13 hours, and I can't leave the airport because I don't have a visa in Saudi Arabia. So, like, it just wouldn't have worked. I was kind of upset about it, like, trying to change the flight. But if I would have changed the flight instead of just going with the flow and being like, you know what, this is how it is now. My flight's on the 26th. It'll be fine. I wouldn't have flown out on the same day as these Romanian guys. So, I ended up. They said, hey, we need to be in Istanbul on the same day. We were 10 hours drive away from Istanbul. They said, we have this whole entire itinerary planned. Shout out Google Maps as well. Harry, you're the best. He planned everything. I went skiing in Turkey, like so random. Went to like a salt lake, went to a monastery that was built into the side of a mountain, and drove back with them to Istanbul. And now we're still in touch. Like, we still talk. And that's something that I, like, who would have thought of that, right? Like, who would have been like, you know what, I'm going to plan this. I'm going to plan to meet these 2 Romanian guys in this hotel lobby area. Like, what? But there have been so many times where, like, I've procrastinated and nothing has felt right in my gut. And then the right thing, which is usually the coolest thing ever, presents itself very last second. So yeah, that's one example. Done some other random stuff too. Always safe.
every single time you talk about your travel stories, there's always like something new that I learned. So many travel stories, it's crazy, you know.
I wouldn't have met you if something wouldn't have gone wrong because
Oh my god, yeah.
really like
that was what I was thinking. What if you hadn't met the Romanian guys and you weren't on couchsurfing, we would have never met.
Right. I wouldn't have heard of couchsurfing, and then when I came to India, I was planning on going to like I was planning on going to Udaipur and doing, you know, I had kind of a little bit of an itinerary with Samart and our friends from Austria, but something kind of happened and I had to completely change my route and I didn't know where I was going, and so I ended up going to Goa, and I stayed at this really amazing hostel called House of Memories. It's in Kandalum. It's amazing. So if you go to Goa and you're looking for a hostel, stay at that one. And then I ended up going up north, meeting up with Samart for a little bit, and then I was like, where do I go now? I just know that I have to be in Mumbai for Vipassana on this certain date, right? And so I was thinking about going, like, Goa's huge, right? So I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back to the hostel, but I kind of want to explore a different area of Goa, and that's why I went on couchsurfing. That's not even why I went on couchsurfing. I went on couchsurfing because I knew I was coming to Mumbai. And so I posted on there, that's when Avantika messaged me, but someone from Goa, Senil from Goa, messaged me saying, hey, if you're in Goa, like, I think, you know, we have similar interests or whatever, like, I can host you, whatever. So I ended up staying with him, and then that gave me a really positive experience, so that when other people like Avantika reached out to me, I was very open to meeting up with somebody in Mumbai. So it's because I needed somebody in Mumbai/Goa that I ended up getting onto couchsurfing, and that's why I met you.
Yeah, I'm so glad that things happened the way they did.
Me too, really. It's so cool we can like trace it back too.
Right? Yeah. What was the hardest for you in the whole journey of, I mean, coming back to when you sold everything, because one of the people asked questions about it. What was the hardest for you in the whole journey? You know, selling things back and traveling alone and all that. Being on the road for so long.
Yeah. The selling everything in my whole that I owned really was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, because it's not just selling a product, right? You have an attachment and a memory attached to.
You were practicing detachment then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's just a way of like putting things, but it's like people do talk about it, about how you should like give things up every few months or every few years to practice detachment, and you did that in like another scale.
It was everything,
Yeah.
Yeah, big scale, but that's exactly what it was like separating. I have this item that goes with this memory too. If I give away this item, it doesn't take away anything from this memory, and I still have it, and it's still just as potent. But you still live through. It doesn't feel like you're just giving, you know, a dress away. It's like that's the dress that you wore at this holiday party, that you were there, like, I don't know, with your boyfriend, whatever. Like it can be whatever it is, or it's just, I think it's the memory and you almost seeing yourself that day or that night or with that thing or that person that makes it so difficult. So yeah, that was one of the hardest things I've been through. But as far as being on the road, I think it's these little micro changes that we don't really talk about that took a toll on me, at least, because I felt like I couldn't catch up with my body mentally. And when you're traveling through Europe, the currency mostly stays the same. It's mostly euros, but like the cost of a cappuccino changes, and so you kind of have to mentally adjust. Cappuccino just being an example, you kind of have to mentally adjust, like, okay, I have to like kind of adjust my budget a little bit for this, and sometimes like some countries are more conservative than others, so you have to know what to wear a little bit more differently, and obviously there's so many different languages, and like I'm a firm believer that when you travel, it's like to a certain extent you shouldn't bring your culture with you and expect that place to adapt to you. Like you should really try and learn like even basics of a language, like hello and thank you, and if you can even like how to order something, just really basic. And I fell behind with that because I was, for 5.5 months, I was in different countries where English wasn't the first language, and like I speak French well enough, and so French was fine, but like German, no idea, Croatian, no idea, Italian, don't speak, Portuguese, no. So that part was tough, as well as like those places where you meet someone, where you meet people or like specific individuals, and you just have this like just this intense connection with them. Like saying goodbye is so hard. And actually, everybody that I've met with that I've had a really great connection with, where the goodbye has been really fast, I've seen them again. I have like this theory where if it's like a fast goodbye, this happened with some arts, really, where I have like a fast goodbye, I know I'm gonna see them again. So like when I was in Madrid, Samarth and I, we didn't even say goodbye because he had to go to Portugal and I was out somewhere, so that didn't happen. When we were in Italy, his flight was it was really early. It was at like 7 in the morning maybe. So he gave me like a really short hug goodbye as I was like, we were in the same dorm. And he just like, was like, okay, like see you when I see you. And then he left. And even in India, we were both in an airport at the same time, kind of like frantically catching different flights. And it was like, okay, deuces, I'll see you when I see you. And then we saw each other in Goa. And same with my friend Reese, like his Uber came a lot faster than he thought it would. And we said a really fast goodbye, but then we saw each other again in Austria. So like, I'm realizing that the people that mean a lot to you, you'll know who those people are, and like you'll mutually put in an effort to see each other, as well as like the universe will just bring you guys together. So, but that was honestly, it was really exhausting for me as somebody that's like kind of an introvert, but I'm an extrovert when I'm around like the people that give me energy back. It's just when you're in a big group of people and there's so many different types of energies there, it's like, why? I just have so much to figure out in my brain and feel like I'm, taking on so many different types of energy and people, but saying goodbye was really hard.
I can imagine. Yeah. How do you stay in contact with people because like you're constantly on the go, so your time zones are so different all the time. So how do you like stay in contact with those people?
That's another good question, and it's something I haven't perfected. Like it's tough to stay in touch with everyone, right? And I think that with the people in your life that it's right, and the people that you really love and that really love you, you can just pick up where you left off, and they know that you're traveling and you're on like a journey of sorts. And so yeah, my people that are like my ride or dies, so my best friends like Gwen and Katya and some other people you just naturally stay in contact with. And then the other people that you meet, you do your best, and you look up time zones and stuff like that. But especially if you're traveling and you meet other travelers, like they get it, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, there's kind of like an understanding. But also with the people that you're really close with, if you're like dating, if you're in like a long distance relationship or your best friends, like it does take some intentionality and slowing down to, if you want to put something on a schedule. Like I remember one time, this wasn't when I was traveling or anything like that, but if people here know like what Wordle is, it's like a New York Times thing called Wordle. It's really fun. But I would schedule on my calendar with my friend like a time that we did that every day. So
the word game, right? It has gotten quite famous actually in here.
Yeah, it's so fun. We should do it. It's like a mind kind of stimulating game, and you kind of see who can find the word first. Yeah. Or someone just suggested to me like, hey, what if we like meditate at the same time? Or my Gwen and I all the time, she lives in Berlin, we try to do like a workout together every week, or like watch an episode of TV or something. So if you have it like in your schedule, so it's implemented as a habit, then that's helpful too.
That's really good advice. One of the questions was, it would be interesting to know more about her work. So how do you travel and like also manage your finances and such?
That's a great question. When it comes to work, since I'm in digital marketing, I am able to work from pretty much anywhere. And I knew a jewelry designer, a really incredible jewelry designer, when I left New York, and he said that he needed some help with some projects. And so I basically do freelance for him. So freelance is a really, really good option. I know that not everybody's in my position though. Like if you're like studying psych and your degree or your license is only valid in the country that you're in, like you can't necessarily always practice everywhere. That's not the case where everybody can freelance. So I completely understand that. In which case I would 100% suggest checking out Worldpackers or Workaway. It's how I stayed in Croatia for 2 months and had minimal expenses. Again, like didn't have to pay for a place to live. I volunteered at a hostel and then actually volunteered in the olive fields. It was like olive harvesting season, so that was a very honestly meditative experience. I like put rules on myself where I couldn't listen to music or anything like that. It just was me and the friggin' olives.
That is so great. Damn.
I'm like, it was like a mini Vipassana.
We have to talk about Vipassana as well. But
yeah. Oh, Vipassana, yes. Yes. So biggest money saver is honestly that, because even if you're staying at a hostel for like 15 euros a night, which is around I think like 13 or 1400 rupees per night in Europe, that adds up. That is per night. And so like if we do some quick math, that's over 100 euros per week. Like 100, 200, whatever. I can't do quick math, I guess. But it adds up really fast, as well as, you know, food and going out. And hostels are they're great. They are cheaper than doing a hotel or something like that, and really great way to meet people if you're going on a journey. And it's either short term or you're just beginning. I definitely suggest staying at a hostel, because you meet other travelers. You can go out with them. Different hostels have different vibes. Some are party hostels. Some are more like wholesome board game kind of esque hostels. So yeah, great way to meet people there, and you can cook with them, which saves you money instead of going out to restaurants. But Worldpackers save me the most amount of money, and yeah, couchsurfing too, man. Get on couchsurfing, start to talk to people, like see who you interact with. Talk about yourself though. I've talked to a few people on couchsurfers, and I've asked like, hey, do you ever reject somebody that messages you saying like, hey, whatever, did you ever have a bad experience? And I think most of the people that I've talked to, it's been like people that just want a place to sleep, or they're just like, hey, I need a place to sleep from these dates to these dates. It's like, okay, well, I know nothing about you, and I don't know if we'll even get along. Like, I'm not like a free ride to having a couch or a bed or whatever.
I'm not gonna lie, like it's a good way to save money, but there are some people who use couchsurfing only to save money.
That can't be your intention. Yeah.
Like it's a good side benefit. I'm not gonna lie. Like my Paris trip, like otherwise staying in Paris would be so expensive.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm happy about saving the money, but at the same time, I'm more glad that I got to connect with someone on such a personal level.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't just like do that, because the other person would definitely feel used and such. And it's like they're welcoming you into their own home. It's like their own space that they're welcoming you in. Yeah. And you know, you can't just like use them, because on couchsurfing it's actually I think it's illegal. Like you could be reported if the host asks for money. The host could be reported, and some actions could be taken, and the account could be taken down, something like that. So you can't ask for money at all. So it's like a free of cost thing. It's mainly for cultural exchange, of course, but yeah, a lot of people do it for just free accommodation. Sucks.
Yeah. That is something to. Sorry, I guess I I assume that that's obvious. It's not. No, you can't. You don't pay to stay on people's couches or in a room or something like that. But as Avantika said, like the primary goal is to share perspectives and share stories and get to know people from around the world. Like, how cool is it that we have something like this? That we have the internet and a platform like this. I think the internet it has its downsides and stuff, and it can really like be a distraction and suck you in, but then it also offers you the opportunity to connect with people that you otherwise wouldn't have, and it's literally from your palm. Like, I met this woman when I went to Goa who was in her 50s, and she had been to Goa for the first time when she was 19, when there was nothing. You didn't have Google Maps, you didn't have Google Translate. She was from Germany, so maybe she speaks Hindi now, but I don't think she did when she first came here. And like I wouldn't. What would I do if I wanted to stay in somebody's apartment, right? Like, you have a map. Would I just go and knock on apartment doors? No. Like, we have the ability to get to know somebody online, and to read about the reviews, like I had said, and if somebody's trustworthy. And so but
you have to be careful.
Yeah, be careful and stuff, but like really do it to get to know people and to get to know a place, and then reciprocate it if you can at the end one day.
Yeah, of course. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to solo travel, or who is like just beginning to solo travel?
Honestly, like, just do it with no expectation. Prepare as much as you can, and I'm a resource to everybody listening here. If you have any specific questions about like what to pack, or how to get like a cheaper airline ticket, or the differences between transportation around Europe, I have a podcast episode about like the Eurail pass, which is the train pass around Europe, and how to spend the least amount of money you can. I'm definitely here. but you don't have to know everything right now. You can kind of go with just, I went with 4 days in a hostel, and then I missed my first flight, and I had 2 days in a hostel, and then I figured it out from there. And like, know that you're, especially like, stay at hostels really in the beginning, and you really will, like, you'll never be alone.
I honestly don't think I could ever go to like living in hotels.
Yeah. God, hostels changed my life,
man. Oh my god, yeah. It's either hostels or couchsurfing. Or like hostess sister. I'm gonna have to try that whenever I travel next. But
it's the hostess sister is so great too. I've done hostess sister twice, and the first woman I stayed with was this amazing woman. She's like the CEO of a healthcare company. So kind, has been through she has quite the story. She's been through so much in her life, and she's come out just so resilient and the best. And the apartment, I had no expectations. Her apartment is the most beautiful apartment I've been in my whole entire life. Staying there, and then I played Holi with another family who also, like, they had a couple apartments in Mumbai, and I met her children, and they were just a really, really beautiful family. So hostess sister is great, and you automatically feel safe because it's just like women, and you have to be verified to get into the group and stuff like that. So,
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
I agree though. Hotels are so sterile. Don't stay at hotels. They're just
Honestly, because there are also like good hostels with really good facilities, and it's so clean and all that. Like, you do generally get a lot of good facilities when you look for the good hostels. But yeah, hostels are fun.
You can get a private too. Like, if you really want your own room, you can get a private, and you want the social element of it, you can get a private room in a hostel. Look up Hostel World. Hostel World's really, really great. And you can read reviews there too.
Through Hostel World, I was in Carcassonne, and I went to this hostel. I was just staying like one night there, and I was like during the day, I was just visiting some places, and I come home, I'm like exhausted. I come to the hostel, and I see this guy who is sitting in like the open area where everyone is he's on his laptop and he's doing some work, and we like introduce ourselves, and it's like, turns out that he's like 25, and he lives like 5 minutes from my college.
What?
Yeah.
In France?
No. Yeah, in France. I met him in France.
Yeah.
He was solo traveling. He was in France for like 40 days or something. And he's like 25. He has like 3 businesses. It's freaking massive. And it's like, it's impressive.
Yeah.
And he lives like 5 minutes away from my college. Yeah. Like, that is such a cool coincidence. So
Small world.
Yeah, we spent a few hours like that night, and we like got to know each other and stuff. And he's in Israel right now, and he's been like, it's so beautiful, man. And he has a travel company of its own, so he plans to visit all, like, as many countries as he can, and then put that eternally into his travel company. So it's like, he has like 3 businesses. He's 25. It's crazy.
Wow. 25 and 3 businesses? Oh my gosh, what an achiever. I'm just here like bopping around at 26.
You're doing fine. 33 countries is not a joke. Okay. Okay, I have a few more questions for you. What was the hardest thing for you to travel, but like as a solo women traveler?
The hardest thing, like,
as a woman traveler.
Oh, I don't want to give like I feel like most people answer the obvious answer. Like, sometimes you're, safety. Like, it's always a matter of safety, right? As a solo female traveler. I've really never felt alone though, like staying in hostels and things. But I'm gonna try and think of something different. Okay, so I'm gonna defer. An obvious answer would be safety. Being a female traveler, there's obvious things that you have to look out for, and you can't necessarily go out at night by yourself and stuff like that. But
yeah,
this is gonna sound so dumb. One of the hardest things is being a woman. You use more like toiletries, and you want to bring like cute outfits and like carry these things that are really kind of like important to you. Like, I'm a pretty sentimental person and whatever, but like honestly, it's I don't know, like back in this day, like I can't bring just like certain things, right? Like, I feel like I have so many more things that I would need to bring to like accessorize, and this is such like a shallow answer.
It's it makes sense,
but yeah, being like a woman traveling and stuff like that, I feel like it's it's tough too, because it's like in India I see things all the time where I'm like, oh my god, that skirt's so cute, or oh my gosh, like this I wish I could totally buy this and bring it home, and like bring it home, what does that even mean? But it's, you're limited to like a backpack. So that's like, brutally honestly, that's kind of tough.
I can imagine. Yeah. What are your top 3 travel apps?
Top 3 travel apps. Couchsurfing for sure, not shocking. I'm gonna like wrap Google Maps and Google Translate into one, just like the Google apps. Yeah, Google Maps for sure. You can download maps too, which is cool. So if you like need to be offline, you can. And then Google Translate for obvious reasons. Like you can also you can download languages and things like that, so you can be offline with that. And the third one, let me check my phone actually. Okay, this is kind of Europe specific, but if you, as far as like planning your travel, there's an app called Omio where you can compare prices of like buses versus train versus flight, but I think it's specific to Europe. But I used Omio kind of for everything to compare pricing. I'm gonna give an honorable mention to an app that this lovely French woman recently told me about in Turkey. It's called Polar Steps, and it's kind of like social media, but not. You get a map and you can pin all of the places you've been in chronological order. So you're like, hey, I'm starting my trip. I started in New York, and then I went to Lisbon, and then I went to Faro, and then I went to Sevilla. And you add the you like get this map with all the pins and what your route is, which is really cool. Mine is very messy. It's very tangled.
I want to see that after the recording, like after the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, we can maybe like include a screenshot because it is like Charlotte's Web. But yeah, you can include, so like my friends all the time will be like, oh hey, I'm going to like this city in Greece, or I'm going to Croatia, whatever. What are your favorite things to do? And so this app is really cool because you can include photos of everywhere that you went in that pin in the world, and include notes as well. And then you can like add friends on the Polar Steps app, and that person has like access to your map.
That is so cool.
It's so cool. I am very behind. I need to go and add photos, but I'm like, yeah, I think it's a really, really great idea. And I don't think a lot of people know about it. I heard it from, actually, I met another French woman recently in Mumbai, and she told me the same. She's like, yeah, my grandma wants to know where I am at in the world.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, right. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want to get like Instagram or whatever, which makes, I mean, so she has this access to this map, and she can see everywhere that I've been. Kind of as I updated, and photos and people that I've met, and my favorite things in a list form. So really, I need to invest more time in that app because it's great.
What are your top 3 travel essentials? Like non-negotiables.
Non-negotiable. Okay. So the first one is going to be like a portable battery pack. If your phone dies, like honestly, your phone is kind of your lifeline. So. I mean, like, I have an iPhone, and I even have, like, my credit card stored in my phone, so if I lost my wallet or something like that, most places accept Apple Pay, so it's also just another safety, thing, gives you peace of mind. So battery pack for sure. If you're traveling in a cold climate, I really suggest getting a packable down jacket. I got mine from Uniqlo. They're kind of a little bit of an investment. I can give you the link to that as well, but I swear by this packable jacket. It's super warm, it's like knee length, and you can roll it up into the size of like a loaf of bread. Nice. It's an amazing coat, and since I just hang mine off of my backpack because it comes with like a bag and a drawstring. So yeah, definitely that. And then the last one is probably an AirTag, like an Apple AirTag. I think they're like $25 or something they're $25 for like 1 or 4. I can't remember. My friend gave me one, and I put mine in my big backpack, and it just tracks where your stuff is. So if something gets lost, it also gives me peace of mind knowing that like I know where my bag is, and I can just track it on my phone. Like you connect the AirTag to your phone. I don't know if you need an iPhone or not, honestly, but just having that. Knowing where my backpack is something that's really important to me. So that's the third.
I didn't know about the tag thing.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's like the size of a coin, and I just put it into my backpack, and it works, I think, using Bluetooth. So if there's like an iPhone that's near it, then it'll ping off of that, and then it'll be able to like ping off of other people's phones back to my phone. So I know where it is.
There is honestly so much that I want to cover, but we are past 1 hour
Already.
So we'll do a part 2 where honestly I'm gonna ask you guys to ask more questions, but this time it will be more related to like mental health and boys, if you want to cover that.
Yeah, I'll do mental health and boys, guys. Basically the same thing. Kidding. But I do low-key have ADHD, so if you have questions specifically about ADHD or
It's
anything
not
like that,
low-key ADHD, it's ADHD.
I do have ADHD.
Yeah, it's not low-key ADHD. It's like a proper diagnosis, so it's fine.
I properly am diagnosed with ADHD. I just... Everyone that has ADHD, I'm not trying to discount your ADHD. I love you. You're in my family of ADHD friends.
So yeah, that, and also Vipassana, because honestly that's such... People say it is a very life-changing experience, but for you it wasn't the case. So that's actually, I think, would be very interesting to talk about. So we'll do that in part 2. There's so much to talk about, man.
So much. Everyone just join us for coffee. We'll just have a little sesh.
Yeah.
Coffee cry sesh.
I don't know. I think this episode will come out in April. We are recording this on 21st March, but I think this will come out in April. But I think you're gonna be here till like May or something.
We'll see, man. At least. I think I'll have this. I got an apartment for like 2 or 3 months, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, I'll be here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
for sure, I think.
she literally just goes with the flow.
But the low and flow.
Yeah. Is there anything that I missed out on that you want to maybe cover up before we wrap up the episode?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot as far as travel. Just be brave and do it if you're feeling up to it. And like, not if you're feeling up to it, that made no sense. Like, if you want to do it, if you're feeling like traveling is something that's calling you or something like that, just go for it. And thank you so much for having me on this episode. It was so fun.
Thank you for being here. Oh my god, it was so fun. Like, yeah, we've been thinking of making it for so long, and it finally happened, and it's been so fun, I know for a fact that part 2 is going to be just as fun recording it, because there's like, I feel like we should
God,
start...
it could be more fun. Shoot.
Boys.
Yeah, right. Oh, no.
So many stories, man.
Many.
And like international stories.
Yes, international stories. We got bros in different area codes. Kidding, that's a joke.
But yeah, okay, so how can people reach out to you? Where can people reach you?
A few different things. Check out my podcast. It's called Low on the Go. That's LAU on the go. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcast. It's on Amazon Podcast, wherever you can find a podcast. I'm on Instagram. It's Low on the Go, LAU on the go with a 1 at the end. My podcast was also linked there. I'm on Facebook. I'm on
LinkedIn. If you're
LinkedIn, Lauren Lucan, LUKAN. Love to build my LinkedIn network, so really add me. If you want to, you can send me a letter in the mail, smoke signals, whatever floats your boat. But I'm really just, I think, mostly on Instagram, and do not hesitate to message me with anything you need. So, am I on anything else? Couchsurfing? Yeah, if you find me on Couchsurfing, friend me, Lauren Lucan.
I think that's about it. I'll be linking all her socials down in the description, so do check her out. And her content, even on like Instagram, is so cute and so amazing, and it's just adorable, man. So like, follow her on everything, including LinkedIn. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I had such fun recording it, and thank you guys for listening. We would love to hear what you think about this episode, and if you have any more questions for Lauren, regarding travel, just anything, honestly, travel, life, spirituality, meditation, like anything. Just shoot questions and reach out to her if you feel like it. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to this on YouTube, do subscribe to the channel so you get a notification every single time I come up with a new episode. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, and if you enjoy the content that I'm putting out, do leave a 5-star review, because it does help me reach out to a lot more people. And my Instagram and email will be linked in the description as well. So yeah, we would love to hear your feedback. We'll see you guys in the next episode. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Hi, chalo.